Well, that's one of the many cheerful topics we'll be getting into this evening with myself and my co-host, Stupenzo. How's it going?
Yeah, you had asked me to make a Jean-Benet Ramsey thumbnail, and I was like, you sure? And I sent it, and you were like, don't like that.
I meant the poster for the show, which is like a videotape being pushed into... I didn't think you were going to do a post with a kid in it. We're not having that. No,
I made the Dear Santa one as a backup. I didn't watch Dear Santa though, FYI. I'm kidding, I did.
Well, we'll get on to Enzo's Christmas movie of the week in due course. But,
Christmas movies of the week.
Movies, okay.
Yeah.
I really did want to talk about this documentary though, because
I watched it. It was good.
I mean, as an Englander, I felt very. I was always aware of this case because it's got so much press and the whole beauty pageant angle and whatnot, and there were various true crime documentaries that were talked about it before, but I never really looked into it. It was never something I thought, oh yeah, that sounds interesting, let me dig into that. And
well, it happened right after the OJ case, and this is what's the OJ case is what started this like 24-hour coverage of the court case, and the Jean-Benet Ramsey case was like the next big. It was on the cover. I remember going to every time you go to the store, like every tabloid magazine just had pictures of the girl everywhere.
Yeah.
And that was for years and years and years like that. It was like, dude, who stopped talking about it?
Oh, I do remember it came up frequently, even over here. Let's just say hello to a few people in the chat. We got Aaron Charman is here, Critical, Wormy Spoons. Tom must be one of my raving buddies. Yeah, good to see you, Tom. Darth Plato is here. Nix is here. Good to see all of you. Let's bring in my other guests. Got Northern English Bastard and the Inside Man.
Hello. And hello, you beautiful bastards. How are you doing?
Hang on, I haven't got
Tickety
the right hat on.
Catchphrase. I need to get a catchphrase.
There we go. Got my right hat on now. So, yeah.
Northern
has a dread helmet on, don't you?
Yeah, I'm wearing a top hat at the moment.
I demand you come on camera and prove it, sir.
I can't because my hair's all over the place. Unfortunately, not on my head.
If your hair's all over the place, but you're wearing a top hat, I don't think it will matter. Really.
Yeah, right, but it's what's spraying out of the sides. That's what it is. It's so around my ears. It's just
Right after this, I'm going to be on Leon and Sam's show, Tinfoil Haters, and they asked me to make a tinfoil hat, so I did my tinfoil army helmet. So I'll be wearing that tonight. That'll be fun. That's heavy. This is like
this
durable.
Is literally the silly hats edition of the Nielsen ratings this evening.
I'll say, Luke, you need to help me workshop a catchphrase like you do. I need to do that where I come in and I just say like, something silly every time I burst into a chat or a panel.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. I know you will.
Okay. I believe in me. You believe in me, and that's all that matters.
Well, let's get back to the topic at hand. We've got lots of films and TV shows to discuss. There's a new trailer for something that I want you guys to have a look at. I'm keen to get your sort of reaction to. So we'll get on to that in just a little bit. Yeah, I think this is the one, isn't it? That's the one. Okay, I'm just going to hang on to that. I'm going to pause that. So, but let's talk before we do that. Let's talk about Cold Case: Who Killed JonBenet Ramsey? True story documentary. It's currently on Netflix. It's doing very well on Netflix, as these things often do. It's in 3 parts. It's the true story of a very tragic case of a girl who was found murdered in her parents' house, not in her bedroom. She'd been abducted from her bedroom by persons unknown, removed to the basement of the house where she had been gagged and strangled. And then a ransom note had been left on the steps for the parents. And the ransom note was found by the mother, who called 911. At which point the police arrived. They did not conduct a full search of the house, unbelievably so. And ultimately, when only one detective was left in the house, she suggested to the father that he ought to maybe do a search of the rest of the house. So he went down to the basement and then found his daughter's body in the basement. And the detective immediately concluded on that basis that he must have killed her. Fast work, detective. Well done. So this is one of those cases where two things went wrong from the very beginning. One is the police focused too much time and attention on the parents because they quickly became telescoped, that they were responsible. This really did remind me of the murder of Rachel Nickel, where the police came very focused on Colin Stagg, who was not the man who committed the crime. He also spent, I think, the best part of a year inside prison whilst waiting for his court case to come round. And he was completely innocent of that crime, whilst the perpetrator went on to kill another woman and her daughter.
But we also have another case here in the UK that is still being investigated, isn't it? That's very many years old now. Of a young girl disappearing.
Yeah, which one is that, Inside Man?
The Madeleine McCann case.
Oh my God!
It's very, very similar to that in terms of the parents being the police focusing all their attention on the parents. And of course,
I never thought the parents were responsible for that. Never.
And some dreadful, lapses in investigative techniques. On both sides of both the British and the Portuguese, but it appears that there may be some kind of conclusion to that, with a particular person, but of course we can't really talk about that at the moment.
You're talking about the German suspect.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, actually, I wouldn't mind doing a special stream on the Madeleine McCann case. I mean, I'll say something on that really quickly. Which I had mentioned before. I'm sure everybody knows about the case, so I won't regurgitate the facts. But in order for the Spanish detectives' theory of the parents did it, they must have accidentally killed their child, then the following hypothesis has to hold water, which is this: they were on holiday with 7 other friends who became known as the Tapas 7. All of these people were having a meal within the complex of the actual grounds they were staying in. So the parents weren't as negligent as they were made out to be, because my parents would if they were staying in a complex of any kind, they would leave me and my sister on our own in the bedroom all the time and go and have their meal or whatever, because there was an assumption of safety on the part of the complex. But so that's not unusual of itself. But the Spanish police's theory in the case of the McCanns is that they accidentally gave, or they deliberately gave their kids some kind of sleeping sedative in order to help them sleep. That's never been proven. Went back, found that Madeleine was unresponsive, were worried that they'd accidentally killed her with this medication, and then got rid of the body. Okay. Now, first of all, in the times that they were away from their friends, totally impossible for one of them to have gone and concealed the body somewhere which would not have been found within that time frame. Secondly, you then have to, bearing in mind that this isn't premeditated, you then have to say that these people were capable of not only accidentally killing their daughter, coming up with a plan separately because they didn't leave the table together at any point, and then going back and continuing their meal and carrying on like nothing had happened in front of 7 other people. Absolute bullshit. Just totally impossible. So there's no way that they were complicit in that. Absolutely no way. That's my very strong opinion on that particular case.
I believe that there is actually very very similar to this Jean Bonnet case. I think there's a documentary series also that's on Netflix that's covering this Madeleine McCann case, I believe.
Yeah, I saw a couple of episodes of that. I wasn't very impressed with it.
Hmm.
I haven't seen the whole thing, but I mean, please watch it and let us know if you fancy watching it. Anyway, let's refocus on this. So, so immediately the police become focused on the parents. The child is also, in addition to being dead, she died of asphyxia. She had a garrote round the throat, and the detective who was heading up the case ultimately advanced the theory that there had been a bedwetting incident, and that John Bonet had somehow soiled the bed. The mother had lost her shit and then accidentally killed her daughter. And also, the bedding was never examined. The bedding was, you can see in the photographs, the bedding has not been soiled. It's not wet. So none of that theory holds up. But what happened was, as is often the case, the police contacted the media. There were people deliberately leaking stuff to the media, and they were saying the parents did this. So the media were then going out and saying the parents did this. There were all kinds of fictional narratives that came out on top of that reinforced the police's narrative. So basically what happened was the parents were being convicted by trial by media, whereas the facts were not there to convict them. There was very little evidence, if any, that would make them the guilty party. This is the first, I've seen a few documentaries on this case. This is the first one that felt very impartial and just dealt with the factual breakdown. How a detective came up with that theory and was adamant, and he refused to be interviewed, the detective in question, what a fucking surprise, is beyond me. He must be the stupidest detective ever born. But anyway, those are my thoughts. I feel so awful for the Ramseys. It's bad enough that somebody murders one of your kids, for you to then be accused, for the police to refuse to turn around and apologize when DNA was key in this case, because DNA became a thing during the investigation, and there was unknown DNA on the girl's body and her underwear, and everybody in the family was ruled out. Close friends and associates all ruled out. That DNA, whoever that DNA belongs to, has never been traced, and the police hung on to that information for years. They never told the Ramsey that there was unknown DNA on their daughter's murdered body, which would have completely exonerated them from day one. So I find it incredible what these people went through. Of course, Mrs. Ramsey sadly is no longer with us. Really, just one of those things. I was watching this and I was just getting more and more angry. And I did my usual due diligence. I went and double checked a few facts and things, because I never take anything completely as granted. Let's go down the list here. Stupenzo, you watched it. What do you think?
Well, yeah, very captivating. And you're lucky I watched it, because it was only 3 episodes, 3-hour-long episodes. So I figured if I watched it at triple speed, it'll take an hour to watch the whole thing. If it was longer than that, man, I would have definitely, because I have, Hallmark Christmas movies to watch, so I did check it out.
I want to deprive you of those.
No. And so, yeah, I mean, I was very interested in it. I wasn't very familiar with the Jean Bonnet Ramsey case. All I knew was the parents probably did it growing up, obviously. But, I didn't realize that there were many updates to the case over the years, especially recently. I didn't realize the dad, spent all of his damn money. It's funny because I just rewatched Jumanji with Robin Williams, and it's kind of similar. Robin Williams, a kid, he goes missing, and everyone thinks the sneaker dad, Mr. Parrish, did it. But he spends all of his money, loses his factory, loses his house, trying to find his son. It's the same thing with Jean Bonnet Ramsey's parents. It's I don't think guilty people do that kind of stuff, so also, just a great documentary about how police are just totally incompetent, and basically, like you said, they were using the media to sweat. They figured one of the parents did it. They didn't think both of the parents did it. So they were going to just have like the media just like pressure them to say something, to slip or confess or do something. They were also like, blaming the brother at times, saying the brother did it because she ate, a pineapple snack or something. And like they said in the documentary, like the mother had just beat cancer. So the idea that she would like snap and like kill her own daughter because she wet the bed is ridiculous. Like she was, she'd been happy to experience another bedwetting experience, it wouldn't matter to her, People get a new take on life, when they survive that kind of stuff. They just chill out usually. A lot of stuff doesn't connect the dots. And then also, they'd have a pretty a pretty prime suspect who's confessed to it at great lengths, but because the DNA doesn't match, he's exonerated, and everyone is like relying on the DNA, and they're never really taking into account that maybe the DNA samples they have are faulty. And it's kind of one of those things where they're relying too heavily on the DNA and not like glaring evidence to suggest the contrary.
The irony was that they weren't saying that the DNA could definitively rule out the parents. Well, if that's the case, then it can't definitively rule out anybody, can it?
Right. They were they kept that under wraps when it like when it was cleared, when the DNA came back inconclusive to the parents, or not even inconclusive, it came back not a match.
Ruled them out completely. Yeah,
they kept that secret. They kept that secret so the media could keep pushing it. And again, it's just it's one of those things where like the Netflix murder documentaries, I can't trust them because they always have to paint everything in such a narrative, and it's like you never know. Ever since How to Make a Murderer, it's just like, you read the Wikipedia on it, and you're like, no, that guy definitely did it. So the Obamas, man, I don't know, they like to I don't know, they feel like I feel like they're maybe controlling the narrative a little bit much on this, but it's one of those things where it's a pretty convincing documentary if you watch it. But at the same time, like, I'm not going to definitively rule out anybody or rule against anybody. It's just like one of these unsolved cases. And until it's solved conclusively, like, I would take this documentary with a grain of salt, but still it's pretty what's the word I'm looking for? Convincing arguments. Yeah. Pretty convincing argument that they didn't do it.
I did double check a few facts, and I can't see that they did it. I just can't see it.
There's
no conclusive evidence.
You think about the South Park episode where
I do remember that.
Yeah.
You murderer, you murdered him.
Right. That's it's pretty ouchy. But yeah, it's what's worse,
the media view on it.
What's more tragic, that the parents did it and got away with it, or that they didn't do it and everyone thinks they did it? Probably the latter, honestly.
Yeah. Inside Man, I know you haven't seen the documentary, but you do remember the case being in the media a lot.
Yeah, I remember it vividly. I mean, we actually had we had a number of documentaries pretty extensively sort of across the networks that around about the time of this case sort of broke. And there seemed to be a little bit of a narrative that, and it was quite compelling, even though there's no compelling evidence, but it was the narrative really was geared towards the parents being the guilty parties, and that whole, surrounding that whole beauty pageant, child beauty pageant thing, that the world of the beauty pageants, because I mean, look, to us, I mean, I'm sure it's very very sort of normalized to a lot of people that take their children to these beauty pageants, but to me, I find it rather creepy. I think it's a very creepy kind of thing. But having said that, although I find it creepy and find it a little bit disturbing that these people are dressing their little children up as grown-ups and making them up and everything, I'm absolutely sure that the overwhelming, if not the entire population of the parents that are doing this out of purely innocent means, nothing kind of sinister, maybe aside from the money, the whole pushy parent thing. But that was the narrative that was pushed extensively in these documentaries. That you know, over in the UK, I'm sure we have these sorts of beauty pageants, but they're not particularly big if we do have them. I know it is a big thing in America and in other countries, but and I think that was the way the documentaries were going. That these things are creepy, so therefore the parents must be very creepy people, and if they're creepy people, therefore, ergo, they are guilty. That's really where the narrative of some of these documentaries have come from.
I mean,
Um,
I think the father put it really well in one line in the doc when they're interviewing him, and of course his wife is no longer with us, but there's a good interview with her from when she was younger, and he says, "Look, it's a bit like, you might film your kids at the swimming pool for the day, and you're not expecting anybody to look at that video footage, and the only people you're expecting to see it were the people that were at the pool that day. It's not going up on YouTube or anything. And the only reason that these videos all became public, which were private family videos, is because of the case. So, and I thought about that, and I thought, and it's not like these were all local contests to Boulder. She was not entered in any kind of international or even national child's contest. These were called sort of local events for kids, kids talent shows, that kind of stuff. And we might find them a bit creepy, but at the same time, it's not a huge leap from a kid's beauty pageant show to a kid's school play or a kid's musical. It's
no, you're right. You're right.
The kids are still dressing up, and they're performing on stage,
agree with that.
Kids like to do that.
Yeah.
So, but what?
Yeah, and it's kind of,
go for it, inside man.
yeah. Sorry, I was going to say it's kind of one of these things where there's kind of an innocence that's been lost in terms of this kind of thing. As you know, I mean, I have children, and my children are all grown up now, but I mean, I was always taking photographs. It's memories, it's memories, family memories, and going to the school plays and watching your kids on stage,
Sure.
and a couple of my kids, they were in Oliver on stage, and and that was a fantastic. Fantastic thing watching my children, taking photographs. It's a memory thing. That's why parents take photographs of their children. There's nothing sinister involved in that. And I think when you have certain people within the media that try to put a rather a sleazy slant on that, I think that says more about those people within that medium in which they're reporting. It says more about them and their minds than it does about anybody who it wants to cling on to memories of their children's youth.
Yeah. So Northern, you watched it, and I don't think you're familiar with the case.
I've heard about it before, but this was the first time I actually watched something, and that was delving a bit. Well, I say deep loosely because I still think there's a bias to this documentary. I don't think we saw enough of the police officer's point of view in the interviews or anything like that.
Yeah, they refused to be interviewed for the show. Meanwhile, the father is like all up in this show's business,
Yeah, and honestly, I don't trust the parents either. It's I'm kind of with Toxic here. I know there's probably a lot of evidence suggesting there isn't, but I do not trust people who put their kids in these beauty pageant shows. They always look way too older than they should be. They look too mature. They look a bit more sexualized. And I'm sorry, I do not trust these people who.
But you've got to remember, mate, that this is in the pre-digital era, right? That this stuff's being recorded. So this is like parents recording their kids performing in shows on a cassette tape, which they're going to watch at home one day, many moons from now, connecting their video camera up to their machine with a cord and so on, and plucking that cassette off a shelf somewhere, whacking it on. This is 1996.
I understand that, but there's other ways of having those memories and not just dolling yourself up to be laid at by groomers. I do not trust the guys who run these beauty pageants either, because they've
Did you not ever dress up and play a pirate when you were a kid?
Yeah, but not a sexy pirate. Jesus.
I have.
You heard it here first. Northern is never a sexy pirate.
I'm always dressed up as a sexy pirate.
I mean, if you're in a competition, to win a competition, you want to look the best, don't you? So, you know, if you're a kid doing a skateboard competition,
I don't think they should do this for kids that young though. They should do them for just for normal grown women. That's it.
I would listen. I would agree. I feel like the debate over whether pageants are ethical or whether they're distasteful, and I agree with you that they are.
Yeah,
I feel is a massive distraction from this case.
There was like a specific point where you see an old video of her at some like Christmas thing, and she's a cute little kid doing a little dance, and then she plays like a fake saxophone, and it's adorable. Yeah. And then the people on the news are like, look at her like gyrating sexually with the saxophone and grinding with it. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like
that was one of the few times I thought there was overreacting.
Like, you're the one adding the sexual connotation to this stuff without it being there. It's just a kid pretending to play saxophone. You know, she's a sweet kid.
There was nothing sexual about that.
Right.
No, I agree on
this
that
motion while playing the saxophone.
And
they're like, oh, look at this. But yeah, I agree. Like, you know, pageants are weird, man. But it's one of those things where, you know, the parents did it and they didn't find anything weird about it when they did it. And also, like they said, you know, in the documentary, you know, the audience of these pageants is like the parents and the grandparents of all the kids. And that's the thing, is they talked about how, like, when they're, you know, talking about potential suspects, they were mentioning like, oh, this guy who was at a lot of these and nobody knew him, and that's weird. And this guy over here was like the photographer, and that was weird. There was a guy who's a photographer at all these pageants, and he ended up selling all of his pictures to the tabloids. So all these awesome pictures of John Bonet from the pageants, like, it was one guy at the pageants, like selling these pictures to the tabloids, and they were very upset about that.
Yeah. Look, going back to what you said about, you know, the little home video of them at Christmas, it's all innocent and fun. Yeah, stuff like that. You want memories? That's your memories. Not dolling them up and slutting them up for grown perverts.
Yeah, but those competitions are not held for those people. The people that are primarily in attendance are the kids and the kids' parents.
Yeah,
but they do attract those
people. Allow their kids to be groomed just to make them stars.
All the more reason why the police should have investigated the other people that were there, and they did fuck all in that respect. So,
there's also one that bothered me though. I mean, they found did they found his daughter in his own basement in his own house?
Yeah.
Well, what was happening there? I mean, did the killer kidnap her and then sneak into the house and put her in the basement?
Allegedly, broke back into the basement.
That is dodgy. That is so dodgy.
Right.
I mean,
and it's also even dodgier.
It's the parents a little bit,
right? It's also even dodgier that the dad found it and immediately, like, you know, ruined the crime scene. Like, if the police officer had found her, it would have been like, seal off this room. You know, nobody goes in. You know. Everyone out of the basement.
Yeah, why did they not search the room? I mean, the parents should be the first.
There you go. That's a police issue. That's not the parents.
Well, they had mentioned that it was a huge oversight because they assumed the kid was actually kidnapped. So again, they told the parents that they had company over. They were making coffee. Everyone's walking around the house because it was like they needed emotional support. But like, they didn't realize, like, you know, I mean, and foolishly, it's like, if this is a scene of a kidnapping, then it is a crime scene. So they should have got everyone out of the house, sent them to a hotel or something. Really looked at the house some more. But again, it's like, you know,
it is getting me angry though as well, because a little girl has died and she suffered really badly, and the people that did this have gotten away with it, and Netflix have sensationalized it as well.
Yeah,
they have.
People have been sensationalizing this death for 30 years now. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. No, I know. And the thing is, I've heard about the director as well. He's pretty well known for bending the truth a little bit to make his documentaries a little bit more sensationalized.
But mate, like, if you're saying you get angry about people sensationalizing it, the week of the fucking murder, you've got a detective going on a TV show saying, I saw the father and he had the look of a killer in his eyes. Totally unprofessional. Not only that,
I do not dispute that. I agree with that as well. It's just
that undermines that argument then, doesn't it? Because that was happening from day one, and the first people that were to do it were the police. From day one, the police did it first.
This is just my view on the documentary itself. It's just going. It's all stupid. It's all stupid. Everything about this case has been a total fuck up for the 30 years, and Netflix have only just made that wound even deeper.
The bottom line is, right? The bottom line is, you can't be sure that the parents were involved, and it's entirely possible that the parents were not involved. So just take that as a possibility, which you have to accept it is. If you go into a room and you see your dead daughter in that room, are you gonna like not cradle her body and rush to see if she's still breathing? Of course you fucking are. And if you've got a policeman upstairs who maybe has medical skills that you don't, first thing I'm going to do is grab the body of my kid and run them to the nearest medical professional. That's just a normal gut reaction. You're not going to leave them there. It might be a crime scene, but you're not a cop. You're a parent.
Right. Yeah.
So you got to think these things through as a parent, man. Like,
but I think there is an argument really against these kind of documentaries being made. Whichever side of the fence, whichever side of the fence anybody sits on in terms of, whether this person's guilty or the accused is innocent, etc. But there is an argument, I think, to be made, particularly, I think, when it comes to the murders of children. I think it's I mean, being a parent myself, I don't know. I find it very, very, very disturbing. I just do. It upsets me in a way that I think is I don't know, quite profound, really. I think I suppose being a parent, your perspective on everything changes the moment you become a parent.
Sure.
It upsets me. I mean, in a pretty deep way, and I don't like these kinds of documentaries. And I can sit here and agree with the pair of you, both you, Lance, and Northern. I think there is a possibility and a probability and likelihood that these kinds of documentaries have made those wounds, or can make those wounds even deeper, for some people. I don't like the sensationalization of the murders of children. I just don't like it. I don't. There were two killers that we had in this country back, way back when, way before both Lance and I were born in the UK. I think
Myra Hindley.
Yeah. I mean, these people. I mean, there have been a few documentaries and a few dramas made certainly about Myra Hindley. But I don't want to see them.
There's two drama films. There's one about Hindley, and there's one just called The Moors Murders. Which,
they have no fascination, interest, or curiosity value for me whatsoever. They do nothing for me, but that's just me. I'm sure there are people that find them fascinating.
I've got my thoughts on this as well, but if you can disagree all you want, and I'll disagree with you, but as long as we do it respectfully and
fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
That's right. I got my finger on the ejector. Well, listen, Disney, not being one to be left out, also has this, which the title translates as "This Is Not Hollywood," and it's a drama, so it's not a documentary, but it is about the true story of this girl, Sarah, who went missing in a more remote, not touristy seaside resort in Spain. Turned out that she was murdered by members of her own family, one of whom.
It's weird seeing the Disney logo on this poster, man.
It's fucking strange, right? Yeah. I was about to comment on that. I watched a couple of things.
Little girl got killed.
I watched a couple of things on Disney, but this is an unusual show. Every episode's told from a a different perspective of a different character connected to the case. I'm on the last episode now, but I haven't finished it. If you're a true crime buff, you probably find it interesting. It's very well shot. It's extremely well acted. One of the things I did like about this show is they very much put the character of the girl at the center of the story, and the actress who plays her does an extremely good job. So you feel like you got to know the victim. The victim was very much front and center of this, which I thought was good. Again, not you know, I find these kinds of things very difficult to watch, but it's another big release, and I wanted to discuss it, so that's why I saw it. But wouldn't normally be my first choice necessarily. But yeah, so that one's out. I give the Ramsey documentary 8 out of 10. I think it's good. I verified any facts that I wasn't sure about. And I can't point to any one thing in the documentary that is grossly inaccurate. I'm sure they could give some things more time, but there have been a lot of other documentaries that have given those people plenty of time. So, you know, if you're going to repeat, you might as well do a slightly different perspective. This one, I haven't finished it yet. Give it about 7 out of 10 so far. Stupenzo and Northern, what are your ratings for the Ramsey one?
I give it a 6 out of 10. It's a good one. It's worth a watch, but it's good for, you know, background noise. If you know, it's one of those documentaries.
I give it a 1.
Northern.
A 1.
Come on, man. You can't give it. Why are you giving it a 1?
I'm sticking with it, man. I'm sticking with it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let him. It's fine.
Okay, he's out of here. Right. Any kidding. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll move on. Let's see what comedies Stupenzo's got lined up for us this week.
Yeah, I watched Dear Santa last night. The Farrelly brothers, Jack Black playing a demon, getting a letter from a dyslexic kid for Christmas. It was cute. It had some good laughs. It had some little heartfelt moments. It ends on a pretty good joke. And yeah, there's some good poop your pants humor and stuff like that. It's a good family romp. Jack Black, take him or leave him. You could tell the kids enjoyed working with him. You could tell they had fun hanging out with him. You know, you just see that. Yeah, it was a fun movie. I don't want to spoil too much of it. It's probably worth a watch for Netflix. It's I mean, if you guys always rag on me for the Hallmark Christmas movies, this is probably more up your alley in terms of watching Christmas holiday theme movies. It is not as cynical as I thought it'd be. I would say, yeah, it was a cute movie. And yeah, the Farrelly brothers, it was weird seeing a Farrelly brothers movie that wasn't a road trip movie. So that was weird. And it was good seeing the two Farrelly brothers back together again, which is fun. But yeah, Jack Black, he's not hamming it up with like the improv a lot. He's just doing a lot of dancing and screaming like he usually does. The little black kid who's the main kid's little friend, he's a funny little dude. He's got some, you know, it's basically like, yeah, 3 wishes to Satan, and he'll have your soul. And he's like, well, I'm not going to make 3 wishes, but obviously the enticing effort of getting that 3rd wish in gets more and more grand. But yeah, it does kind of have like a little bit of a serious moment, you know, when you find out like some backstory to the kid and his family, and you realize like, oh, damn, that's heavy. And it kind of ends on a pretty happy note. It was one of those movies. It was cute.
What would you give it out of 10?
Again, another 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10, maybe. It was worth a watch. You know, I wouldn't watch it again. It was fun. You know, family wants something to watch this Thanksgiving. This would be all right. There was also
Jack Black mitts to the beard in this one.
Yeah, I think it's like in his contract now. He's got to have the big, you know, Papa Hemingway beard now at all times, and he's definitely like fatter now, which works for him. You know. The worst is when the fat funny guy loses a bunch of weight, like you know, Jim Gaffigan did recently. By the way, Jim Gaffigan's new special, The Skinny, is pretty good. I'd check that out. So yeah, I'd say you know, average film. But I did watch another Netflix. This is Paramount Plus, Dear Santa, but Netflix did a Christmas movie called The Merry Gentleman, and that was awful. It just totally, again, it's like when you watch these Hallmark Christmas movies, they are actual Christmas movies. You know, they make you get the spirit. The Merry Gentleman, Vex watched it first, and she told me about it, and I was like, I gotta watch this. It's basically, again, like, yeah, the damn Obama's corrupting the spirit of Christmas. It's a movie about male strippers. It's like a failing bar is, you know, in some small town. It's the standard Hollywood Hallmark Christmas formula. The young lady is a dancer who is getting aged out of the play, the Broadway thing she's on. She goes home disgraced, basically to go spend holidays with her family, not telling them that she's no longer working the play. And she finds out that the bar that they run, it used to be a local staple. Oh God, it used to be a local staple, and it's like failing in business. And it turns out like there's a lady there who's trying to get them evicted. And the parents are very worried. Michael Grossman is the dad, and he's barely in the movie, but it's cool seeing him again. Is it Michael Grossman or Michael Gross? The guy from Tremors.
Michael Gross.
Gross. Okay, yeah. He's in it. But it's one of these things where like there's a handsome carpenter who helps with the business and all these other dudes that happen to live in town, and they all are like super ripped. And it's like, okay, well, we're just going to make them dance around like gigolos. And all of a sudden the business is going to explode. It's like, that doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Like all of a sudden you're going to have the place packed with like money spending floozies who just want to see dudes dancing with their abs out. And, you know, there's like typical stuff. It's not a Christmas movie. It's a movie about overcoming stage fright. It's a movie about dancing. It's like a Magic Mike movie that happens to take place around Christmas. And once again, Netflix just like totally losing the core focus here. Now there is a good moment at the end when they save the bar and the lady who was going to evict them shows up. This is like true to Hallmark Christmas movies. She like all beefs are squashed. She shows up. She's like, hey, I just wanted to congratulate you. It's amazing what you did to this place. And she's like, yeah, thanks. Join us with our Christmas dinner. And it's like, oh, great. That's the kind of stuff that you like to see in the Hallmark movies. Like I watched another crappy Hallmark movie I don't want to talk about, but it was called wrapping up the season or something like that. I can't remember what it was called. But it was basically a prince type character. A handsome rich guy is the center of attention for some woman who runs a gift wrapping company, and the mother hates her. It's like the mother wants to set the son up with like some other rich lady. But then, you know, there's a beef squashing where she's like, hey, the mother comes up to her, is like, hey, I'm sorry, I misjudged you, you know, let me make it up to you. That kind of stuff is always what makes these Hallmark Christmas movies good. But yeah, Merry Gentleman, I'd give like a 2 out of 10. It was bad. It not only, and now the thing that sucks,
explain what's going on here. Is this guy about to take a run up, or what's happening here?
Yeah, it's a lot of like that's the thing, is the routine is all repetitive too. It's like they just play a Christmas tune or two, and the guys come out and just take their shirts off and dance around and gyrate, and maybe they're wearing some different costumes. So even if it's one of those things where you saw it one time, you wouldn't go back. You wouldn't go back the next time and see the show again. You know, it's like it doesn't make any sense why it would get so.
Of course,
you know,
the lead woman's got a cute dog.
Yeah,
that's mandatory.
Meanwhile, there's 2 Hallmark Christmas movies I could recommend that were really good. When I say really good, I mean, you know, obviously I've seen I think I've saw 8 Christmas movies in the past week, but these 2 specifically like stand out. They were better than the average ones. This is like your woman wants you to watch a Christmas Hallmark movie. I would recommend you pick these because they were pretty good. There's one called Jingle Bell Run, which was about a woman who gets involved in a television, what are those like long distance, like scavenger hunt races, you know, like across the country type thing. Yeah. And it's about her and a washed up pro hockey player. They are teamed up together, and they have to, you know, solve these riddles, take flights all over the country and solve the, get to the finish line first, you know, and it's like a whittling, you know, there's like 10 teams, and each round, like a team gets lost, and that was a fun movie.
It's a mad, mad world meets the Campbell Run.
Right. Yes. And it was
Santa
actually pretty
Claus, the
sweet.
movie.
And it was a great little romance film. And it was also like, what was cool about it was like the competitive teams aren't like enemies. You know, everyone's friendly. Everyone's getting along. When the one team loses, it's all hugs like, oh, I'm going to miss you. And what was really sweet, obviously the two win, but like they get $1 million or some shit. And they use their $1 million to like, you know, help out the previous, like the 3 and 4 and 5, 2, 3, 4 and runner up teams. They give their money, portions of their money to their teams for like, you know, what they wanted to do with their winnings. You know, they help one couple like get a restaurant. They set up a charity for one lady whose daughter died. You know, it's like that kind of stuff. That's what I like to see in these Christmas movies, you know? And this is, you know, coming from,
heartwarming stuff.
I love the disgusting, depraved horror movies like all October, November. It's all about the, you know, the awful stuff. You know, I love it. But like, yeah, Christmas movies, they need to hit you there. And this movie did that really well. Another good one is called Reason for the Season. And this one, I didn't think I'd like that much, but it was about a young woman who's like starting a cosmetic company. She gives birth unexpectedly on the road in a diner. She stops by a small town diner and she's like, I'm going into labor. And it just turns out that like, you know, one of the people there is like a nurse. So they help her have a baby. And then 20 years later, or something like that, 22 years later, the mother now owns this huge like cosmetics empire. She's a billionaire basically. And her daughter is like kind of a spoiled brat. And it's like, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to covertly like take up an alias, go to the small town. You're going to meet the people that helped you like get born into this world. And you're going to like, you know, help them fulfill like Christmas wishes, like on the down low. And it was actually pretty sweet.
So it's a bit like It's a Wonderful Life meets The Secret Millionaire.
A little bit, yes. And of course, it's one of those cool movies because it's not stupid. Like everyone quickly realizes who this girl is, you know, like nobody's like stupid in the movie. And she uses like the help of some lawyer. This guy, the handsome lawyer, is the one that's supposed to help her like meet these people, find these people, and help them. You know, they have one Christmas wish. What would you like? You know, I can help you do it. It was a sweet movie. So yeah. That's it for the Christmas movies. 2 recommends and 2 no recommends, really. So yeah.
If you could only pick one of those Christmas movies that we should absolutely watch. I mean, obviously, I know Inside Man's going to be
probably Dear Santa. Let's be real here. Dear Santa is going to be more for you depraved guys watching, you know, poop jokes and stuff like that, and you know, you probably have some more laughs. But yeah, if you had to pick one of the other Christmas movies, I'd probably go with Jingle Bell Run. That was a cute one. But again, I pretty much spoiled the movies because I know you guys aren't going to watch them. So, you know, go for it, you know, whatever. But that being said, I do have 2 other really good movies I'll recommend, but I'll let everyone else go around first before I bring up the real movies that I watched.
All right, Northern, what film have you got for me?
Oh, Bad Santa. Come on, with Billy Bob Thornton and what's his name? Tony Cox.
Funnily enough, I was going to talk about that next week, but we can do it now.
Also, John Ritter in his was that his last performance? One of his last.
Yep, John Ritter in his last performance, and Bernie Mac as the Stordick. And God, it is probably one of the most depraved Christmas movies ever fucking made. But God, it surprisingly uses the depressing aspects of. To bring out something inspirational. I mean, this is a guy that redeems himself by beating up a bunch of kids. It's insane, but I love it. And,
this is a good Christmas movie because it's all about the holiday spirit. One thing I got to say though is like there's the director's cut, and one thing I don't like about the director's cut is that hilarious voiceover in the very beginning is not there. There's you know, when he first goes to the bar, when you first see him in the bar at the very beginning of the movie, he's narrating and stuff, and the stuff he's saying is hilarious. And for some reason in the director's cut, that's all omitted. And it's like, I know taking out voiceovers usually the good.
Yeah, this is one of the few times where the voiceover kind of helps a little bit.
Yeah, the voiceover is just hilarious in that beginning. So.
Yeah, because the same way as with the kids, I mean, that is done visually, and that is when you do start to see him start to change a little bit when he gives him the pickle with the blood on, and he doesn't burn the Gilmore girl. He's actually very, very touched that he's done something very nice for him because he's had so much shit his whole life, And yeah, that's when you start to see him grow and change. And yeah, the kid is funny. Brett Kelly is hilarious. He's just this annoying, docile kid, but he's got this innocence to him as well. And I don't know how he's got this great comic timing as well. And yeah, Lauren Graham is smoking hot in this movie, even though she doesn't get a lot of screen time. But
oh yeah, she's great.
She does have a charm to her.
What's interesting is the director's cut is actually 10 minutes shorter, which is like,
is it?
Ooh.
That is not a director's cut. That is a condensed version with
the director's cut is 10.
Yeah, it's stupid. That's stupid.
Yeah. I mean, this is in the early 2000s when every movie had to have an unrated version, you know. Bad or Santo was the one, but still, like, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm gonna try to find that narration to see if I can see it.
Yeah, and yet John Ritter is funny as well. Thank God you mentioned him, because he's just this total prude, spineless guy trying to not lose his job by saying anything offensive or causing offense. And I love the faces he pulls when Bernie Mac is like saying a fucking someone up the air. So he has this little cringy face as he squirms, and it's.
Have you seen Bad Santa 2?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Bad Santa 2 is awful. It is. Yeah. There's no heart to it whatsoever. It's the same thing, but with none of the charm. And you know, when Brett Kelly was saying a lot of stupid stuff and he had an innocence to him, but somehow him acting this way as a grown man just makes him a little creepy. And I am actually mentioning
the film, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh no, it's
just a bit creepy in this movie.
Yeah, but I don't want Thurman Merman, which is a stupid but hilarious name.
That's my favorite part, where he's like, "Your name is Thurman Merman."
Yeah, I want to like Thurman Merman. I don't want to be creeped out by him. I don't.
Yeah, no, Thurman Merman was a great character because, like, he's like, weird and strange and gross. But then, like, the more you learn about him, you just feel real sorry for the kid, and that's why
he doesn't evolve, does he? And they've made him dumber. In the first one, he was a bit dumb, but he was still independent. He could still make sandwiches for his senile old grandma, played by Cloris Leachman from Young Frankenstein. I can't believe I only realised that this year. There was so much good stuff in this as well. I mean, the fact that they used the fact that they go so dark and depressing, but somehow bring a very uplifting story out of it. I don't know how they did it, but they make it work. And Billy Bob Thornton is a total disgraceful, repulsive, perverted, I'll keep miserable old git, but he still manages to be very sympathetic. That's a hard thing to pull off for an actor, and he does it.
So, mate, interesting tidbit for you. You know how you mentioned Cloris Leachman?
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic female character actress, lived up to the ripe old age of 94. Do you know how she got her first break and got noticed by Hollywood?
How?
Beauty pageant.
Damn, man. I think I might have seen some pictures of her when she was a little younger as well. And Danny, no.
Was she 6 years old?
Make sure they're not on your computer, man.
Was she 6 years old in the beauty pageant? Yeah, I don't think so.
No, but she came up through that route, though.
All right. A lot of people do, honestly.
Beauty contests and stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, you know.
Shout out to the new Miss Universe, who's a Danish female-born woman.
Yeah, thank God, man. Thank God. I mean, that is a sign of things maybe getting some kind of normality back again.
You know what's even more shocking is that girl is 18. It's like, what?
Who was Miss Universe last year?
I don't know. Probably some big fat black tranny. I have no idea.
God, if they want to do a trans Miss Universe, just do a trans universe. Stop throwing blokes into women's things, and stop throwing women into blokes' things.
I'm sorry. Dear. I didn't mean to say that. Some beautiful person was that.
Well, the lady, Miss Nigeria, came second place. I just Googled it. Oh, hang on. Inside Man's got mic issues again.
I got the chat going too. Sorry.
He just has these little triggers, though. I can't help it.
The triggers are normally you. That's the problem.
It's all about the delivery. It's all about the delivery. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, Leachman had an amazing career. Incidentally, she was really amazing. Career.
Terry Zwigman as well, who did Ghost World, which I really need to rewatch again. I watched it once and I liked it, but I never went back to it. I don't know why. But yeah, Terry Swiggoff has a very unique style, and he seems to have a very offbeat sense of humor. And it's there's a lot of sounds.
Okay, your stand timer is up.
Man, there's so much more to go on as well. But
Bad Santa's good. Great movie.
You can do an EFAP on it on your own channel. Inside Man, what you got this week?
I actually watched, I think you're probably going to be the only person that's seen this, Porterhouse Blue.
Oh my God, that's going back.
Yeah, 4-part adaptation of Tom Sharp's classic novel about a university or a college at Cambridge University that never changes. It just doesn't want to sort of move with the times. It stays exactly where it is, which is pretty much in the 15th century, to be honest with you. So we have David Jason, who plays the head porter. And the term Porterhouse Blue is a condition of which each of the masters, due to their overindulgence, die of. It's a medical condition known as Porterhouse Blue. In essence, it's a stroke, brought on by their overindulgence. And of course, the master dies, and he has to name his successor. So they're all kind of gathered around in almost a sort of a papal conclave, waiting for him to announce his successor. And of course, he dies without naming his successor, which means that it goes to the monarch, and the Queen then passes it on to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister has to name the successor. So of course, he chooses this character called Godber Evans, who's a former Porterhousian. So he was a former student at Porterhouse and was not quite the gentleman, let's just say. So he takes over with his very, very stiff, woke wife, who's into, all the usual kind of wokery that we're seeing today. And they want to make drastic changes to the college. In the meantime, there's a student called Lionel Zipser who takes up residence in the tower part of the college grounds. And of course, he's obsessed by his rather rotund bedder. And he's played by John Sessions, and it's all about the kind of a sort of a political intrigue, but it's hilariously funny. David Jason is brilliant in it. As Charles Gray, one of the Blofelds, is in it.
Oh my God!
Ian Richardson, who plays a fantastic part before he did his Francis Urquhart in House of Cards.
House of Cards, he's always great in everything he's in.
He's amazing.
And David Jason as well, the legend.
Yeah, but it's so good. It really is good. I hadn't seen this since it was first on Channel 4, and bloody hell, it was. I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, it's 4 51-minute episodes, all of which are on YouTube.
Okay, so it's on YouTube.
But it's the whole thing is on YouTube. It's brilliant. It's just a brilliant adaptation of a brilliant book, and I thoroughly recommend it to anybody.
Depends. If you want to find the YouTube link for that and drop it in the chat.
It's very English. It's very English, not British, but very English. And of course, it's slightly based on Peterhouse College of Cambridge, which is the oldest university college in Britain. So it's sort of based on Peterhouse, so Porterhouse. But it's brilliant. It's so good. I'd forgotten how incredibly good and sharp a writer Tom Sharp was. Just superb.
Sharp by name, sharp by nature. Sorry, Northern, I forgot to ask you for your rating on Bad Santa out of 10. So, would you give it now, please? Oh, he's away.
9 out of 10.
9 out. Well, I'd give Bad Santa 8 out of 10 from what I can remember.
Yeah, 9 out of 10. Yeah, sorry, fucking
essential Christmas viewing for adults.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's a good movie.
Porterhouse Blue, what would you give out of 10, Soman?
Do you know what? I know I bandy these numbers around quite a lot, but I'm definitely going to give this a 10. I loved it. I love the book, and I love this adaptation, and it's great to see David Jason. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to give some of this away because I was so enthused by watching this show. I'd love to give an awful lot away, but I really don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it. It has a really, really interesting final episode and conclusion.
Okay, so that's a strong recommendation for Porterhouse Blue, all of which you can see on YouTube for free. Enzo has just dropped the link for the first episode.
No, it's the link to the playlist. So all the episodes are in that link.
There you go, the playlist. Thank you. That's even better. Before I come back to you for a second choice to make sure that we cover this within the allotted time, I do want my guests to watch something and get some opinions on the topic and the trailer. So let's have a look at this, please. Okay, so before I get some thoughts from people, I just want to, being the history buff I am, just want to fill you in on a couple of things. First of all, the 6888 is a real unit. It did exist. That was their function. They took over the control of the postal service for the Americans serving in Europe. They were based in the UK. And this is obviously the story of that unit. Second thing I would say, and anyone who's served in the military will know this, is probably the number one important thing, especially in World War II, for men to receive was their mail. You see it in every war movie as well. It's like, when the mail comes around, everybody's like heads are perking up. Mail was absolutely key to soldiers' morale, and there was a period where it wasn't getting delivered in the US military because they didn't have, or they hadn't applied the necessary logistics, shall we say. And this is the unit that took on the task. So just so you know, all of that background is completely true. You can go and check it for yourself if you wish. So Inside Man, having worked on a couple of World War II things, just your thoughts and anything you want to, any views.
I mean, I'm really interested in, the fact that this has been used as a subject, but from that trailer alone, if it was supposed to be, inspiring and making my heart thump with glee, absolutely not. It did nothing for me, and I'm really sorry to say that, because this is the kind of movie that I would like to watch, or this is the kind of subject matter that I would like to see a movie about. And it's not necessarily what the subject is; it's how the subject is delivered to us, if you'll excuse the pun. And I just think the execution and the delivery of it is, I just don't think that the execution is going to be particularly good. It's going to look nice. It looks nice. It sounds nice, and but all these kind of fist pumping, inspiring speeches, they don't inspire me. They make me perspire. I just find them tiresome.
I mean, do you not think that the trailer's probably tailored towards an audience that's younger than us? Because these
younger and ignorant.
It's not that it's the age; it's just very ham-fisted. Very.
Yeah. I really don't like this whole kind of the way studios try to use a demographic. They target a demographic. I think you should either have an audience or nothing. And I think this is going to have nothing. It doesn't matter. I don't think it matters what age, the person is. I mean, look, I like kids' movies. I love kids' movies. And I the kids' movies that I watched as a kid, I still love. Kids' movies that I watch today, I still love. So they might be targeting kids, but they're grabbing me at the same time. There might be teen comedies that I love. If we love a movie, we love a movie. we are an audience. I don't like the way they try to, they like this whole modern audience thing, and I do not believe that the modern audience exists. I think you've got an audience or you haven't got an audience. There's no such thing as a modern audience. I mean,
okay,
we like different things.
That issue we probably do agree on. Northern, you use the word ignorant then, and I want to know why.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because the people who don't learn their history, they're going to think this is real. And once again, Netflix.
Hang on, whoa! What are you talking about there?
Well, it just feels like Netflix is trying to rewrite history a little bit, really push the agenda a little bit.
Tell me what's not historically correct first.
Well, I never said anything about historically correct. I just think that this film looks like it's going to really push, kind of rewrite history a little bit more to, like what Inside Man said, suit a demographic instead of actually trying to be a bit more. I
think you need to choose your words a bit more carefully there. If I'm honest, because
a lot of people are going to believe this. They're going to watch this and believe it, though. They,
well, what's wrong with that? This unit did do this job. This unit performed this role, this very important role. It was a unit made up entirely of black women. They came over. They served in England.
Yeah, and I'm all for the actual facts, but I don't think Netflix is going to deliver that. Like Inside Man said, they're going to try and push it for the modern audience. Why are you making that?
I'm interested to know why you're making that assumption that the facts have been changed on the basis of this trailer.
It's Netflix. They've done it a lot, and they will do it again. And it did look like the trailer was trying to make white people look like idiots again.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. You usually have this movie should have a we're all working together for a common goal vibe, but instead it's the typical. We're gonna show these people that we're better than they think. We're gonna show them. These doubters. Kind of vibe, and it's just like it should be more like I said, like the Hallmark Christmas vibe. Like, hey, let's all work together, and band together.
Is that a true reflection of the mood and the way black troops were perceived in the 1940s?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's definitely the vibe of this trailer with the like Wakanda music playing in the background and the lady shouting, "We're gonna show them what's going on." It's just like, oh my god, dude. Just men I'm sorry. When it doesn't matter that they're black, it's just when women start yelling like this, it's like I just can't help but roll my eyes. It's like, all right, ladies, just go ahead, do your thing, whatever. Let them do their thing, I guess. But I mean, this idea that like you got Oprah Winfrey sitting in a chair telling the general, what is what, it's just like, oh God, I don't know, man. It's just, like I said, it's like we're in the middle of a damn world war. You would think everyone would be more cooperative. And again, it's like, I understand there were troops that were racist and, towards black troops. But again, it's like, it shouldn't be so mean-spirited is what the vibe I'm getting. It's very mean-spirited, this movie, even though this movie should be all about coming together. And all I'm getting is like separating us more. Like, this is like, it's dividing us even more. Like, there's us and them. That's the vibe I'm getting. Why is that the case? We're all Americans, and that's the thing is this battalion was also involved in France and England and stuff. So, I don't know. I'm just like I said, it's just very ham-fisted, very beating you over the head. It's a more like align with us or else type attitude, and I don't really care for that.
It's taking the facts, but they're going to push it a little bit more so the more diverse people achieve it, even though they're probably It's
don't you want to wait until you've seen it before you make that assumption?
It's Netflix. We don't need to see it, but I will watch it. And I hope I am wrong.
We are going to be watching it because we're going to be discussing it in detail in December with one of the cast who's watching now.
I'm sure it's a case of historically accurate on the broader strokes, but like in terms of like personal interactions with everybody, it's all. But that's the case with every historical movie. They gotta make it palatable for a script. And I gotta say, if this is a movie, then I'll check it out. If this is a mini serise, I don't care. That's all I'm gonna say right there.
It's a feature film. It's a feature.
Good.
See, I've always sort of bemoaned the fact that we've never had a movie about the Red Ball Express, who I think
I'd love to see that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm amazed that we've never had a movie about the Red Bull Express. It was so pivotal, and old blood and guts himself, General Patton. Um, he said that he would have been he would have been nobody without the Red Bull Express. He really relied on them, and they assisted him in such a way that he absolutely come to adore them and love them. And I just want to see the Red Bull Express. And look, fair play to these women. This is a fantastic thing because everybody did pull together. But I don't want to see anything that's divisive. I don't want to see anything that creates a division. I mean, we know that there was racial segregation in the United States forces during the Second World War. Which is it's hard to believe. It's hard to comprehend, considering that United Kingdom, we didn't have those racially segregated armed forces.
Well, it's even more of a hurdle because not only is it racism, but also sexism that was also prevalent. Because
Yeah,
I understand you're doubting these people because they're black and they're women. But then again, it's a movie about delivering mail. So, I mean, I don't know how exciting this could get. Maybe it'll be, I mean, it's one of those things where I understand like low morale, but it's not going to compare to the troops that are actually like, killing and dying. I mean, if these women are getting shot down in planes,
there's quite a few shots of people getting killed. So I don't think they're going to, we'll see. This is the Red Bull Express movie that was made in 1952. Inside Man, so there is a movie.
Wow.
Yes, I am aware of this movie, and it's actually not a bad little movie, to be honest.
I'd quite like to watch this and review it.
I should check this movie out. I like this guy's.
It's a good little movie. It's on YouTube, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's another one that's on YouTube. Yeah, it's a good little film. But I would like to see an updated version, a kind of a warts and all, a very gritty, kind of a Band of Brothers-esque kind of Red Bull Express movie.
That would. I mean, an updated version would be very welcome. That'd be certainly be a thing Tyler Perry could pull off. I'm sure with his production.
But all of these different units, including this female unit here that's within this film, they were very, very small cogs in a very, very large machine, and of course those tiny little cogs mattered as much as anything else.
Mm-hmm.
They were incredibly important. I just hope that the execution of this movie is not what I'm expecting. I really hope it's going to subvert my expectations.
Yeah, it could be just Netflix with the trailers again, because they do the trailers. They make it look like they're pushing for the woke crap, but sometimes the film ends up actually being good and actually.
I hope so.
Well, these trailers are edited by different groups, which I don't agree with. I wish the filmmakers themselves got to have more of a say in how these trailers are made for all movies. Because this trailer comes off as generic, mean-spirited, preachy. Plot aside, historical accuracies or inaccuracies aside, it just comes off as just, like I said, just like, we're going to show them who's boss type of attitude. And it's like, how about,
I'm guessing the real ones wet
like
that either. I'm guessing the real ones wet like that either, like we're fed up with these white people. We're going to do the jobs better. No, they were probably much more cooperative and didn't really think about that in real life because people were dying. Their husbands were dying. Their sons were dying.
Well, I mean, if you want to know, if you want to know what they thought, you can go and see some interviews of several of them because they're online. This is the real unit.
I would happily watch the real interviews with these people. I would.
Yeah. The question is, like, is this movie marketed towards, everybody or just black women? Black women, I don't think, they're interested in watching a World War II movie like this, even if it is about, black women doing things. You gotta convince the husbands, white or black, whatever. You got to convince the husbands to get the wives to watch this movie. You know what I mean? Like World War II stuff, chicks generally around Christmas, especially, like, I don't think you gotta, but then again, Netflix, people rarely watch. This is Netflix, right? Yeah, people,
Yeah.
Netflix, typically you don't even see trailers for Netflix movies. So, I mean, usually you just see it, on the new arrived today kind of list. And you're like, oh, what's this? You read the description. You'll see the little autoplay video play. But yeah, I'd imagine women I know would see this and just kind of like watch 10 seconds of this trailer and be like, no, I'd rather watch, Reason for the Season, whatever, that's the typical, you gotta stop focusing on this like hyper-sectionalized audience. We're going to focus on, what Black people are like 12% of the American population. Half of them are women. So, 6% of the population, we're going to try to focus marketing totally on them and still miss the mark. It's like, you should be trying to market to me, like make it look like a cool war movie with like a lot of historical stuff. And, I get it. Like the fact that Hank Schrader from Breaking Bad is in it is not enough to pique my interest. The fact that Oprah Winfrey's in it, a lot of people don't like Oprah, Black people especially. You know what I mean? Oprah is like, what you see Oprah in a movie and you're just like, oh God, we all know what you did in Haiti. We all know what you did in Hawaii, Oprah. All right. Okay.
She was on the island. She was.
So, yeah, they explain John the God. Explain John the God to us, all right?
Was she the one that says, you mean the white women male? Was that her?
Yeah, that was her. But again,
that line was cringe.
It's not, it's not like, it's not, like I said, it's not the subject matter that's turning me off. It's the way it's presented. And like I said, the movie might be very differently tonally than this trailer. And I'm hoping it is. I want something more with a movie about this. I'm expecting something more subtle. We're talking about a hyper-focused section of World War II. This would be a kind of movie where like we don't have a lot of combat in the movie. Like, let's focus on just literally delivering mail. Like, make a movie about delivering mail, interesting and exciting. That's the kind of stuff I want to see. But, like subtlety, a little subtlety goes a long way. It doesn't have to be hitting you over the head with a message or morality or, we're right, they're wrong type attitude. Obviously, like, yes, there's prejudice that should be addressed in the movie, but it shouldn't be the main focus of the story. I hope it's not. Obviously you got to have a scene where someone doesn't think these women can do it, and then they do it, and then moving on. Okay, everyone, these women got their stuff right. Let's just now on to the actual story, to the movie where we have to deliver the mail for some reason to some people for whatever, ticking clock time of, exciting kind of premise. Like this could be done well, because not every World War movie needs to be guns and explosions and executions and, battles and stuff. It would be interesting if you could do a World War II movie about just delivering mail. Like, that actually sounds interesting, especially if, you can do it, actually intrigue female audiences. War movies, especially all war movies, chicks, women drag us to movies. Well, we don't even bother dragging our women to war movies, like men like to watch war movies, like by ourselves, I'm
pretty familiar with that.
Right.
Okay. Well, we're going to be continued because we will be coming back to this topic.
Yeah, I mean, rating a trailer is a lot different from rating a movie. Trailers all look awful these days. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, it looks like it does have a good story to have different people who are all in the same situation, but still showing compassion and friendship,
right,
through an extreme event that was happening all over the world. And
like I said, working together for a common goal. Putting our petty differences aside and like moving on. Like, it's like, we can't just keep bringing up, these white people don't think we can do it. Like, bring that up once or twice in the whole 2-hour movie, and you prove them wrong, and you've shown them, you've got the gusto, and then the movie continues with the actual plot. Like, the plot can't be, we're going to overcome the racial prejudice, the sexual prejudice. That can't be the whole
main
movie.
Focus, was it? It was about just helping these soldiers still keep a connection to their loved ones that were miles and miles away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. Right. Also, like a movie that can kind of capture how important the mail is too. Like Lance was saying, like, if you can convey that in film, that would be impressive.
Yes, toxic.
Okay.
We are a bunch of white racists.
No, we're not.
Well, I've already said my opinion. So let's move on. The other thing that came out was Rogue Elements, Critical Drinkers movie.
I watched it.
Now, bearing in mind,
I didn't get a
before we
chance to
talk
watch it.
about this, bearing in mind, this is, I think, one of the things I've realized with the comments is people don't understand what a proof of concept product is. So for anyone who's not familiar with that term, it's a film industry term. It means you get some money together. It's kind of the next level below a pilot. So a pilot would be budgeted the same budget as an actual episode of the show normally, sometimes a little bit less, but pretty close, because then it's also a test case. Okay, this is the pilot episode, this is how much it cost. So going forward, we budget for 12 of these per season or whatever. Proof of concept isn't quite the same as that. It's more of a hyper condensed version of whatever your show is supposed to be, giving you the sort of visuals and key elements. It's unlikely to have any of the cast that are going to be in your show going forwards. It's what is available with the resources that you have, so that you can prove that you can do it, but you'll do it better when you have more money. So so that's what a proof of concept is. It's a bit similar to an electronic pitch deck, except that it's a teaser or a movie or a trailer. So I think that needs to be the caveat before people chuck in opinions. Keep that in mind.
Well, a couple things I have to critique is putting proof of concept in the title. Probably that belongs in the description. I don't know. That's just weird to me. Also, I guess they raised $300,000 for this, which is a pretty penny. And they obviously did pretty well with the money they had. Does it? I mean, it looks like, you could argue good. It looks. Yeah, I mean, they got a good camera. They got some decent lighting. I mean, they're filming indoors. They're filming outdoors. They're filming at night. These are things that cost money. It is pretty generic, and it does feel like a Hallmark movie with guns. It has that same kind of vibe with the acting and the direction and the writing. A lot of tropes. But something else that's kind of weird. I don't know if this is true, but Blue Collar got to watch it ahead of time because he's a faithful Patreon donor to Critical Drinker. He says that this version is 10 minutes longer than the version he got to see a month ago or two. And that to me is weird. I would think if you were a backer, you would get the longer version, as a bonus for backing. That's just something that's kind of, this or that,
the backers would have seen that version. This is the public version.
Okay.
So,
yes. So does my £5 actually get put to good use here then?
I would like to think that Blue Collar was just drunk and he's misremembering, And as far as this movie, this pilot, I watched it. It didn't, it didn't really wow me. It didn't also make me lose interest or, make me scroll my phone. It is schlocky. I do love the schlock, but I think people who were expecting this to be like a real game changer, you're going to be pretty disappointed if that's the case. As far as the just judging this alone, assuming no show gets picked up and this is all we get to see, it's pretty good. I mean, it's nothing to write home about. Narratively, it's all right. It's got a cool little, not a twist ending, but a little told out of order type little reveal, kind of thing. Yeah. Blue Collar says his version was 32 minutes, so I don't understand.
Yeah, the thing you mentioned about Anya's prison break, was that like a flashback? Because I know it's in the first book.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, that's kind of what's going on. Yeah, you've got it's told kind of out of order to kind of reveal kind of who the rogue element is and what the backstory is. At the very end, you realize okay, it's kind of like returning a favor type thing.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
It is actually a continuation of the books, so probably still need to read another few more to.
That being said, as someone who hasn't read the books, I'm not really in all the know-how of what exactly is going on and who these characters are and what their relationship is. All we know is there's good guys and there's some bad guys, and the bad guys are, being bad, and the good guys are trying to rescue the hostage. And it didn't show me anything I haven't seen before. As far as and as far as this being picked up as a show, I couldn't see this show lasting much longer than 2 or 3 seasons before it starts getting stale. Like, how many times can you do the rescue mission type thing? Maybe if each season is its own mission, but then again, you have a show like that, it starts getting drawn out and overly padded. I hate that stuff. But yeah, as far as naysaying, people who are naysaying, it's like you learn really quickly. Like, making a movie is a lot harder than people think.
Oh yeah,
because I'm not expecting this to be great. I'm expecting it to be a very good first effort that probably could evolve into something better.
People rag on the Hallmark movies.
Have you watched it?
Not yet. I only saw a little bit of it, and it was like an action scene. So I thought, no, I'm going to stop this and watch the full 42 minutes when I get a chance.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's a couple great set piece action scenes with like a big fight here and there, a big gun shoot here and there.
Pretty good.
I don't like and this isn't just this is a modern day thing, not really necessarily unique to this show, but I don't like CG blood squibs. I want to see squibs. I want to see real blood.
Yeah.
I would have thought this could have benefited from more violence, like being a little over the top violent. This, I feel like, was kind of play it safe a little bit on the violence. I feel like this could have benefited from being like a little more on the gratuitous side. Also, as far as people ragging on the Hallmark Christmas movies, like, oh, they're so cheap and the acting, it's like, well, this is kind of the same vibe. This is like I said, it's a lot harder than you think. Making something that looks and feels professional.
Yeah, those movies are shot for a similar kind of budget. They're all
right.
Usually shot for under $500,000.
We were talking about that big camera rig, that one Hallmark movie we're talking about used. And it's like, you see, like, the people that work on these movies are pros and they know what they're doing. And, they're working with the budget type thing. It's the same thing with my graphic art. Like, people have lower budgets. They get, you work with the budget, if someone pays, is only paying $50, $100 for something, I'm going to spend an hour or two on it. You get $1 million budgets, then people go the extra mile, like what you guys were talking about with what was that, Masters of the Air. People were talking about how, like, you open the drawers of these sets in the desks, and like there's like stuff in the drawers that nobody even sees in the camera work. So, it's like, wow, that attention to detail is just, you got to cut corners with some of this stuff. And filming outside some weird warehouse building. Pretty much the whole movie takes place around here, and then part of it is in a parking garage. So yeah.
My thoughts on it were, technically, for the money, it looked fine. A lot of slick camera work, a lot of lens flare. Director likes his lens flare, which I like it in certain shots, but not necessarily as much as this. A lot of teal. But it
doesn't J.J. Abrams the lens flares, does he? Like in Star Trek.
Well, there's a few of them. I mean, look, technically it's very proficient. The acting is a mixed bag. There's a couple of unknowns in it who are actually very good. There's a couple of unknowns in it who are not so good. And then there's some people that are sort of in the middle. I thought the script was fine, but there were some lines for me that straight away I knew, as soon as I heard those lines, I knew those lines were not written by Wil Johnson. I'm going to leave that there. So, yeah. But, you've got to remember, he was only the co-writer of the script. That is where and it's
the director was also co-writer. Yeah.
Director was co-writer. And he's not involved in the shooting or the choreography of the action scenes, the stunts, the costumes, the locations. There's nothing to do with him. He is co-writer of the screenplay and created some of the characters. That's it. And that was always his sort of take on it, was, well, we'll see what these people do with it. But hey, at the end of the day, I haven't created this thing. They've taken it off my hands. That was really his take on it. I think it's fine, and for the money, when you can put it up against things that have an episode of this that have got 5-10 mil, you can see that the people with those kinds of resources would do a pretty good job.
I think we're a biased audience. Like, we watched it out of the curiosity because we're fans of The Drinker, friends of The Drinker even. But if I were to show this to, like, my chick, she would lose interest. She'd be like, "What is this? I don't know. This is boring. I don't know. I'm not really, why are we watching this?" That's just,
I'll be honest. I think my ex-partner would probably say the same, and she was quite picky over her.
You got a good action flick when you could show it to the girlfriend and she's hooked. You know what I mean? She's like, okay, what is this? I'm into it. I don't think this is gonna hook the average layman.
So what was Drinker's take on it then, Lance? What did Drinker think of it?
Well, we'll let him talk about it on his channel, because I think it wouldn't be appropriate for me to
right. Yeah, sure. No, that's fine.
See, Blue Collar says Wil didn't get killed in my version. I didn't see as Wil. Is there a Drinker cameo that I didn't?
Yeah, he's an extra. He's one of these kind of like sort of hitmen types, and I was actually trying to find it.
Right, because I literally went back to look for him.
Yeah, the 25-minute mark.
He's one of these
25-minute mark.
25 minutes. Yeah, he's one of these guys in the body armor. Oh, I think he's on the roof, right? Yeah, he's on the roof, I think. There he is. That's him.
Oh yeah. Play this. Yeah. Press play. I want to see him get killed. Okay, that's him. Okay.
I should have got away now.
I missed that. Yeah. Okay, that's good.
I've
always said if I was in a movie, my dream is to be in a movie and have no lines and get the scarecrow dance, have a bunch of gunshots go off on my body and fall down. That'd be so awesome. Yeah, just do that kind of stuff. That'd be great.
I mean, he got killed by a hot chick, so hey,
yeah,
worse things happen at sea. All right, well, proof of concept. It's out now. You can watch it. It's on YouTube. I will drop the link in the chat. Inside Man, you got another one. I know you have.
Mona Lisa.
Now
is that what Bob Hoskins?
I have.
It is.
Yeah, I've got several friends in this movie, and it was the first film that was ever on at the cinema when I started working there. It was the first time as an usher I was put in the screen, and the funny thing was I was not old enough to be in the screen to see that film because it was an 18.
Yeah, Neil Jordan, right?
Pretty sure it was an 18, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I think it was.
I'm friends with Kathy Tyson, who's on the poster. I've met her numerous times over the years. More recently, she forgot who I was, and that was a whole thing. But we're all good. So my friend Zoe Nathanson plays Bob Hoskins' daughter in this film. And then there's various other friends of mine that pop up in small roles. I think Katie Hardy, who used to date my acting coach, is in there as well. There you go. There's Kate Hardy.
Sammy Davis.
Sammy Davis. Sammy Davis I've met. He's not a friend of mine. And all these kids, like in these scenes, these are all kids from Anna Scher's drama school where I used to go. So
and I worked on this briefly.
Wow.
Sorry, mate. I steamed in there, but you tell us why you like it and just tell us.
It's one of those films. It kind of. I mean, I'm not a fan of 80s movies, but this is one of those.
You say that every week, but then recommend them. I do love that.
But it has two of my favorite actors in it. I mean, Bob Hoskins. I absolutely loved Bob Hoskins from way back from Pennies from Heaven, as I remember, and obviously Michael Caine. It's just a beautiful tale of unrequited love. A very twisted, beautiful tale of unrequited love. But yeah, I love it. I really love this film. And it is quite a special film for me. Again, Like I say, I mean, I only spent 4 days on this, but it was 4 enjoyable days. It was just a brief, brief
Which
stint on it.
which scenes?
It was I think it was with the girls on the stage, and which was shot at Twickenham, and it was Joe Brown and Bob Hoskins and Michael Caine was there. So, and at the end of it, I got 2 really amazing photographs of Michael Caine and Bob Hoskins, both of which were signed by each of them, which was lovely of them to do that. Yeah. And I've got to dig them out and frame them. Actually, I want to kind of sort of do my office up, and I wanted to stick those on the wall. But yeah, it's a lovely film. Kathy Tyson, I think, is superb in this. And it was a very, very funny shoot to actually be on, a very funny film. A lot of humor around, believe it or not. It wasn't one of these films where, because of the subject matter being so dark and so grim, you'd think that it was a very dark atmosphere, but it wasn't. From what I can recall, the brief days that I was actually on it, it was a very happy, very funny, very kind of jokey, larking about kind of set. And everybody was really, really sort of on their A game, but really, enjoying being there, knowing that they're doing something with Bob Hoskins, and Michael Caine, two actors in 2 legendary
Caine.
British gangs. Yeah, Michael Caine, 2 legendary British gangster movies that both of them have been in, respectively.
Yeah, I mean,
and
there's that.
to get them together.
There's that great scene on the staircase, where Kane's like, George, and I don't want to give anything away for anyone who hasn't seen it, but various people get shot, and at one point, the gun clicks because it's empty, and that's the moment where Hoskins realizes this person has never regarded him anything more than a piece of shit, really, and treats him as such.
A means to an end. Just a means to an end. But
that moment is chilling. These scenes are hilarious, by the way. The scenes with Robbie Coltrane where he's trying to sell things like the statues of the Virgin Mary, and he's always got some
ornamental spaghetti, wasn't it? Ornamental spaghetti. You can't find ornamental spaghetti anywhere, George. Yeah, no, it's terrific. It's a beautiful film. It's
both
just
gone, sadly. Both gone.
Yeah.
But
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful film. I think it's a very poetic film. I mean, it's so well shot, and such an incredibly tight script. And I remember, and I think I've still got it. I remember it was one of those movies that, upon its release, rather than doing a novelization adaptation of it, they actually released the script. Neil Jordan published the script,
right.
a copy of which I still have. So I'm sure they're still around on eBay somewhere. But it's a terrific script, and
it
nothing.
is a good.
There was no kind of no improv, no variations or anything like that. No deviation from the script. I mean, Neil Jordan's notorious for that. I say notorious, but he's a taskmaster. He's he's an Irish poet, isn't he? So he's just he's a wonderful director. Unfortunately, I don't know what's going on these days, but I think he's may have peaked quite early. But a lovely film. Just a lovely, lovely film, and it gets me every time when you see Bob Hoskins on that on Brighton Pier, and his little glasses, his little star glasses.
Yeah.
When he walks out of the hotel, realizes exactly what's gone on, what he meant to her. But she was fucking brilliant, Kathy Tyson. My God.
Yeah,
I mean, she was
she's
just
incredible in this. Incredible. She's still
Yeah.
great now. She had a tiny part in June Prophecy, which I spotted her straight away as the original
Mm.
Reverend Mother, kind of leading the people in the Terminator Rebellion against Skynet at the beginning. And then, yeah, I mean, it was really great to see her in that. It was a bit of a shame that she wasn't in it more, but
I had a crush on her for years. I had a crush
she
on
came
her
to
for
see
a long time.
she came to see my last play. I was very
Mm.
pleased because she'd seen one other play of mine in the 90s, and then, you know, that's the first time she's seen any work of mine in forever, and she was very complimentary about it. So yeah, she lives not far from me, so I was always bumping into her.
Lovely.
And one time it was snowing, and we were both at the same bus stop, and I went, "Kathy, it's Lance," and she looked at me and went, "You're that theatre director guy?" And I was like, "Yes, you came to see my play." And she was like, "Yes." And I said, "God, it's awful weather, isn't it?" And we were literally with the only people at this bus stop in Archway. It had started snowing. I don't know where I'd been, but I'd come out at Archway Tube, and I just wasn't going to walk up the hill. I lived the other side of Suicide Bridge, and a taxi, black cab came by, and she just went, "Oh, bollocks to this, I'm getting in the taxi." And she went and got in it, and the taxi went off. And the taxi went up to the roundabout that used to be at Archway, went all the way round the roundabout, came back, did 180 at the bus stop. And she went, "Come on, Lance, jump in. I'm not leaving you here." and yeah, called me into the taxi. And when I bumped into her at my 80s clubbing night. She was there, and said, "You've got to let me buy you a drink for that time with the taxi." And she thought I was some random guy trying to chat her up. She didn't know who I was, and was really short with me. And I got so upset. Because I couldn't understand it, you know. But look, she got to understand, right? The taxi thing was like in, I don't know, 2001 or something. It was a long time ago. 2001. I'd seen her once since then, bumped into her and her son in Camden Market, and we chatted for about 20 minutes. That was probably about 2003. And she has people coming up to her all the time because she's very well known. And, you know, we're in a club. It's dark. We're in a club. It's dark. There's music. So she probably can't really see who I am and whatever. And then her friend, what her friend did was her friend Julie, who's now one of my best friends, went and Googled me and sort of went up to Kathy afterwards and said, "I think that guy is who he says." And anyway, next time we saw each other, it was all good. So, you know, kind of a funny story there.
Because she was
very lovely woman. Extremely
she did get very, very, very big, didn't she? In because she was in Band of Gold, which was a huge success. Huge success.
She did a number of, I think she did a number of successful theatre productions. I think she did some stuff at the National. Sure, I saw her in something at the National at some point, like Oedipus or something like that.
Whoa.
And but then there was a time when you didn't see her for a while. And you know, she had a son and was being a mum and all of that kind of stuff. And then she did a great role in, there was that thing about the care homes in the pandemic.
Yes,
and she was one of the people that died in that. She was great in that. Sammy Davis Jr. completely Sammy Davis.
I was like, what?
Yeah, Junior's.
Junior's.
Yeah, we know what happened to him.
Sammy Davis Jr. is versatile. This is him right here.
Yeah. What happened to Sammy Davis? She disappeared. Yeah, she was sort of.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was in Lair of the White Worm, which I spoke about a couple of weeks ago, and she really stank in that because she couldn't quite nail. She was supposed to do a northern accent or a Derbyshire accent or something, and it sort of ended up slightly Brummy, Welsh, a little bit of Scots thrown in there, a bit of Scouse, a bit of Cockney, and a bit of Yorkshire. So, you know,
you've got to emphasise the U's when you say folk. That's how you get the Yorkshire accent.
Yeah.
Defer to your expertise. That's my friend Zoe Nathanson, who played the daughter, who's a phenomenal talent, and she's now an agent predominantly, and does a bit of one-to-one coaching, I think, like myself. We both used to be at Graham's class, so that's how she was at the very first class I ever went to.
Okay. Yeah.
soon as I saw her do a scene, I was like, "Fuck, who's this? She's good. She's got to be in my film." And she was. She was in my second feature film. She played one of the leads.
Oh.
So I've got stills with her on set and all of that kind of thing. Yeah, Mona Lisa. What do you give it out of 10?
Oh God, I'd hate not to give it a 10. So sod it, I'm going to give it a 10. I love it.
Yeah,
I
you're
love it.
banding out those 10s.
It's really to do with the a film's rewatchability, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh
you
no,
know,
I would
you
agree.
know, and
That's a big
if
thing.
if I can constantly rewatch it, which I can, then I can't give it anything less than a 10. I love it.
I'll give it a 9. It's not the perfect film for me, but it is an extremely good film with very few faults. Northern, have you seen it?
Sadly, no. I'll put it on my list though because I do like Bob Hoskins, and Robbie Coltrane being on there just makes it even better as well.
Tom in the chat gives it 10 out of 10 as well. No hesitation.
Nice one.
Anybody else in the chat want to rate it? Please do. It's a very good film. So if you haven't seen Mona Lisa, the Nielsen panel recommends it. I don't think Stupenzo's seen it.
No, but all the Neil Jordan movies have been on my list. I watched what was that Robert De Niro, Sean Penn one where they're bandits, escaped convicts, We're No Saints. That was good.
Yeah,
was cute.
God.
Some other Neil, all the Neil Jordan movies. I looked up his filmography. I was like, I gotta see these. There's a bunch of them. This was one of them.
Yeah.
But I do got 2 other movies that I have to recommend. They're like 9 out of 10s.
Okay, mate. Let's hear your choices. What are they?
Okay, well, first off, remember when I recommended that anime Look Back? How I said it was like the best thing I've seen all year.
Yeah,
it's still true. You guys need to watch that if you haven't. All right, but these 2 animated movies were about as good. Came out of left field. I watched them randomly, and I was again really blown away. First one, watched on a whim, called Kensuke's Kingdom. It's Kensuke, Kensuke's Kingdom. It's an animated movie. I think it's like French animation, but it's the voice actors were all Americans. You got like Cillian Murphy and not Americans, English speaking, I meant to say, but you got Cillian Murphy and Ken Watanabe and a few others. But it's a movie about a little kid and his dog. They get shipwrecked on an island, and the island is inhabited by like a Japanese soldier who's been there for decades. And
Kensuke's Kingdom. That's the one you mean.
Yeah.
I thought you said
Kensuke.
I thought you said Cancer Case Kingdom.
No, Kensuke. Kensuke. That's how it's pronounced, I guess. But Japanese name. But yeah, that was a really good movie. And I don't want to spoil either of these movies too much. But yeah, this one I watched totally blind. In fact, I feel like I've already given away too much. I had no, but yeah, really cool, really awesome, like Spirited Away vibes. If you guys have seen the Red Turtle,
where can we see it? Where can we watch this? I want to see this. Where can we see this?
Let's see here. Let's see the platform it's on. Kensuke's Kingdom. Good. You can. Let's see. I mean, you can watch it on Apple TV. Nowhere free right now, unless you're like sailing the Indian Seas. But yeah, it's on Apple. It's on YouTube. It'll be probably out and about soon, I'd imagine. It just came out. But yeah, really good. If you guys have seen the Red Turtle, that's a really good one too. But that one has like hardly any dialogue. This is kind of like that. It is there's talking in it. It's more dialogue driven. But yeah, really great animation. Really great, like almost whimsical vibes. Fun, adventurous. It's just a real cool movie. It was cute. It was poignant. It was, leaves a lot to be interpreted. I liked it a lot. The other movie I watched that I was really excited about it when I figured out what it was. There's a movie called Memoirs of a Snail. And I noticed it looked like, if you guys have seen Mary and Max with Philip Seymour Hoffman, that claymation movie from Australia about pen pals.
I think I did. Memoirs of a Snail. The pace sounds like it might be a bit slow in the film.
No, yeah. So that movie, Mary and Max is a fantastic movie. And I saw this Memoirs of a Snail and I was like, it looks like Mary and Max. And sure enough, I looked it up, same guy who made it. And I'm like, okay, so Australian claymation movie. This was really good. It's about a young lady who's basically telling her story, her life story. And it was great because it's like a family film for mature audiences. Like it's a family film, but there's like, there's nudity and adult language and some violence and stuff. It was like a softer, family film. It was like a softer adult film, mature audience film. It was just really good, really poignant. It's got like Forrest Gump vibes where there's like ups and downs. It's like emotional roller coaster. There's like happy, funny parts. There's sad parts.
Should we watch the trailer? Let's have
check it out. It was really good.
Dad used to say that childhood was like being drunk. Everyone remembers what you did, except you.
Good one, Dad.
But I remember everything. Right from the start. Our home. Happiness. Sadness. Perms.
Nice hairdo. Dickhead.
Love at first sight. And loss.
Life isn't about looking backwards, Gracie. It's about living forwards. Snails never go back over their trails. Set yourself free.
Oh, that looks amazing. I've got to see that. That looks
incredible.
great.
Yeah, so those two for sure.
By the same people who did Paranorman, because it's kind of got that little lived-in, rundown look as well.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that's typical with the claymation, but it did. Let's see, Marion Max. That was also he did a few other Australian claymation movies. It's let's see, he did Marion Max. This movie, Memoirs of Sale. Adam Elliott is his name. What other movies did he do? A couple stuff I haven't seen, and now I want to watch him. He did Ernie Biscuit, Uncle, Cousin, Harvey Crumpet. I don't know if these are shorts or feature lengths.
Skippy and the 50 cal machine gun. That was another one.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think these are shorts. And then Marianne Max is a feature length with like I said, Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's about pen pals. One lives in New York. A little girl lives in New York, and she's writing this like old man in Australia. They become pen pals. That was a very cute movie. This one was, just as good. Also, it's in color. Marianne Max is in black and white. But yeah, this really good. And also Kensuke's Kingdom, excuse me. That was also really good. I'd have to say, I think Memoir of a Snail kind of irks out Kensuke's Kingdom just a little bit. It was really, really good. And then better than both of those is Look Back. Please, please, please watch Look Back. All those three animated movies will blow you away. Can't recommend them enough.
Got a super chat come in. Rogue isn't for everyone. Talking about Rogue Elements, nor is Bourne, Bond, Reacher. I loved 9 seasons of 24. I didn't expect reinventing the genre. For a Kickstarter, it was great. Yeah, I mean, for a proof of concept Kickstarter film, it certainly is up there from anything else I've seen that comes from a similar stable, shall we say. Memoir of a Snail. Okay, and you wanted to Look Back, you said as well.
Yeah, that's what I recommended a few weeks ago. I know you guys haven't seen it yet because you guys would be telling me, "Holy shit, I watched Look Back. It was really good, Enzo." Yeah. So I know you guys haven't seen it, so watch it. Watch those three. I can't recommend. They're
this one. Isn't this one available on Netflix?
I don't know. It's only 40 minutes long. Look Back would, like I said, Look Back surprised the hell out of me. It's probably the best thing I've seen all year. And of course, I didn't know anything about it going in. I recommend you do the same. I recommend you go in totally blind. Okay, it was so awesome.
Let me see if I can find it, and I might watch it right after this. Actually,
Look Back. I mean, I could find it for you, but it's on Amazon Prime. I think is where people. Yeah.
So if you've got an Amazon account, which I do, I can watch it.
For free.
I'm going to look it up. Right now, and if I can, I will whack it on the big TV.
It's not all Hallmark Christmas movies for me. Sometimes I watch real movies. Okay.
No, that's good. It's all good.
But I love
Fabulous.
recommending shit that nobody's heard of and, comes out of left field. I'm like, what is this? And I watch it randomly. And it, because like I said, I usually watch these movies, like I start off at double speed. And if it starts, if I realize pretty quickly, like, okay, I could probably speed it up to triple speed. Or in the case of these movies, it's like, oh, this seems pretty interesting. I'll slow it back down to normal. I'll like watch it as the filmmaker intended at normal speed. All three of these movies were like that. I was like, okay, I'm hooked. I'm sold. And I may or may not have shed a giddy tear at one point watching these. So
anime can do that, though. I mean, look at Tokyo Godfathers.
Dude, yeah, I would say Look Back is up there with Tokyo Godfathers. Really, really good. And it was short, and it doesn't feel short. It feels like a feature-length film. You forget it's like half as long as most movies, and you're like, wow. Very impressive.
I found Look Back, and it's ready to go. Do you recommend I watch it with titles, or do you recommend I watch it with subs?
I watched it with subtitles. If you want to, obviously subtitles, you got to dedicate 100% of your attention to it. So I'd recommend that. If you plan on, it's one of those really great animated movies. So it's visual spectacle as well. Kensuke's Kingdom had better animation than Memoirs of a Snail. Memoirs of a Snail, really impressive claymation, but the characters are all weird and ugly, and it's all really cool. But Kensuke's Kingdom is like a family film, all ages. Look Back is kind of more PG-13. Memoirs of a Snail, R rating, soft R rating. It's an R-rated movie you could probably show the kids if they're mature enough, they're old enough, but they're all real good movies. I would recommend them a bunch.
We're past the midnight hour, and I know the Inside Man will turn into a pumpkin shortly.
I shall.
Yeah, so you can already tell he's wrapped up, just waiting to turn out the lights, basically.
Actually, I'm so impressed with those choices. I really am, and believe you me, I'm gonna watch them. I really am gonna watch those.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one of them ready to go now. I nearly finished episode 2 of June Prophecy, but I'll hold off on that, and we'll get into it.
Let's wait 6 weeks or whatever and talk about the whole show when it's over with.
I've actually got to zip, I'm afraid, fellas. But it's been a pleasure.
Using an actual zip line.
Yes, I am. Yeah, out of my the main tower of my estate.
Treehouse.
Going.
We're all in this
down.
together.
I'm going across my lake, and I'm just going to knock on the servants' doors and just make sure that they're going to be tidying up the grounds for tomorrow.
There is actually a French chateau castle that is for sale, about 40 miles outside of Paris.
I thought I'd get rid of it because I've already got one. I thought I'd best get rid of it.
I thought it was yours. Yeah. Well, look, I'm hoping for a family discount, so let me know.
Listen, I've got to go, chaps. I'm so sorry. I have to go, but thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being in your company as always, and thanks for some great recommendations. All right. So take care.
We'll catch you. We'll catch you next week. Don't forget you're taking me out for lunch soon.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So, okay. Still waiting.
Right. Take care, chaps.
Bye-bye.
See you later, alligator. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right. So, hang on.
I think
there is. Northern, I think you had one other choice. So
you
want to squeeze it in quickly.
Yes, season 2 of Arcane, which is people are really hating, but I don't actually mind.
But
he cut out. I would say Arcane season 1 a little overrated, and I feel like season 2 is getting a bit more hate. I haven't seen season 2 yet, but I mean everyone's really hating it on it. Like, you guys were loving season 1. What happened?
Season 1 was so fucking great, though. We had layers, characters, we had all these great themes, all these political powers with agendas, and they were kind of done very objectively. The way it wasn't taking any sides. We saw both sides of the conflict, and it had a lot of woke elements, but it was done very well. It had the girl boss, the gay relationship, but it was actually well written, and these characters, the characters V and Caitlin actually were set up, and It's the but it's the fractured relationship between V and her sister Jinx that really makes it. I mean, you really want to see V get her sister back from the brink of insanity. And the second series really does try to pack in a lot in, and it's kind of lets it down a little bit, but I do still kind of like it. I just really wish it was either condensed into 3 episodes, cut out all the bullshit, or have all the extra stuff expanded on and fleshed out a bit more. I am conflicted about it. Once again, the actors are really good. I mean, Haley Stanfield really convinces us this sort of like rough and ready tomboy, and Ella Purnell, who I did not realize was voicing Jinx, really sells it. She's crazy, she's resourceful, but you do feel a little bit sorry for her. She's traumatized by a stupid accident that she did when she was young, and it got her friends killed. There's so much going on though, but it never felt like overkill. But in the second series, it does feel like overkill.
Well, I guess I need to still watch season 1, which I haven't done. I know you guys keep urging me to do. I think it's on Netflix, isn't it?
Yeah, season 1 is brilliant. It actually is. It is fantastic.
I will get around to watching it at some point. But someone's phone's going off. Not me.
Not man. Not man.
Stupenzo. Okay, so well, let's talk about what else we've got coming up. So, industry interviews.
Using the boys' room.
If you've been watching the channel, I've had a ton of them lately. God, I mean, if you guys did not catch the Cindy Pickett industry interview last week, I think that was on last Thursday. You want to check it out. It's an incredible interview with an incredible woman. We had a fantastic chat. And, she talked about some stuff she'd never talked about publicly before. I also have independent writer-director, I think it's James Timon, coming in next week to talk about his film Ringside, which is currently available on Amazon. So funny, when I saw this poster, I have to say, this really felt like one of the Hobbits in a boxing match, like Sam. With the hair, it looks like Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah, it does.
So I felt like this is like the Hobbit boxing movie, but it's probably not that. But it's just unfortunate that this profile kind of shot, he really does look like Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings. Anyway, I'm going to be watching the film between now and then. I'm quite happy to have some co-hosts on this one. So if anybody fancies watching the movie and jumping on with me, let me know. James is coming in, I think let me just check the dates on this. I think he's coming in on the second week of December the 10th. I have another DJ, Anthony P, from the London dance and house scenes, coming on December the 11th. Don't forget this Sunday coming up, very, 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 very important. We have not only the YouTubers movie quiz, so this is at 8 o'clock on Sunday, but it is also the day of my book launch. See,
nice one.
If the Inside Man was here, he would have jumped in then and said, "Oh, have you got a book coming out, Lance?" So I was expecting someone else to. You failed there, guys. Terrible. So, Stupenzo, the wonderful Stupenzo, has been instrumental in helping me create the cover. Much gratitude to my friend, sir.
No problemo.
And this is the final cover. There's a forward in the book from the Critical Drinker. There's lots of references to my father in the books. There's a picture of me and my dad, sadly taken, I think, just a couple of years before he passed away, on the back. And this has got around 140 movies discussed in it. Officially, there's 124 sections, but several of those are a double feature. And it's pretty, I mean, it sort of started off as I thought it was going to be kind of one kind of book. And then it sort of morphed into something else. It got a bit more personal as it went along. And I thought, actually, this needs to be kind of personal, because it's those memories, it's those moments that people are going to relate to, which is the first film you saw with your first girlfriend, you know, the first film you saw with your parents, the last film you saw with your parents. All of those kind of memories are in this book. People are asking about it. So as I said, the book launch is this weekend. So from this weekend onwards, I think you'll be able to get it on Amazon. It's not going to come out any later than December the 5th. So,
Wow.
but I'm just putting it into people's minds. It's £10.99. I think it's about $14 or $13.99 and it'll be available on Amazon.com and Amazon.co.uk. Now, if a couple of other things, I really do need my supporters to be my social media army on this. Reviews on Amazon, if you purchase the book, are absolutely vital. Can't even tell you how vital those reviews are. If I can clock up 100 reviews on Amazon between now and Christmas, that would really, really help. Also, anyone doing video reviews or anything like that, all of that stuff, great. Send me pictures of you holding the book. If you don't want to be in a picture of the book, send me a picture of the book on your coffee table or whatever. Just, you know, not next to your porn collection. But yeah. But it's it's I don't know. I think this one's gonna land with people. Of all the stuff I've written, I really think. Jamalama is saying, "Damn, I really should get this." That is an incorrect statement. What that statement should read is, "Damn, I'm definitely going to get this." So you've got a couple of minutes to retype.
Send us the link to the Amazon. Send us the link to the Amazon and website as your book, and I'll try and share it on Facebook. Try and get some more traction for you.
Yeah, mate. When it's live and people can order it, it will go everywhere. So it'll be on my Facebook. You'll probably get a personal email from me with the link in, because I'm really going to be running the troops on this one. Because
yeah, either way, if we help, anything I can do to help, mate, I'm there.
Well, I think it's, of all the stuff I've ever done, I think this has got the best shot of kind of, you know, maybe exploding, maybe that, you know, it could. I'm not saying it's going to be the next Martian, but it could do quite well, I think, because it's something a lot of my other stuff has been about very specific subjects. This is much more generic. Everybody, more or less, in the Western world anyway, has been to see a movie, you know, and most of the people I associate with have some connection to the movies. They're either people like yourselves who like watching them, or they're people that work in my industry who work in them and on them, and or are performing in them, you know. So most people I know, I personally feel would get something from this novel. So we'll see, but people might hate it. I might be wrong, but we shall see. So, and yeah, I appreciate that, mate. I will send you all the relevant information as soon as it's available. Big shout out to my proofreader, Anthea Thomas, who's been working very hard this week to send me sections of it, and I've got some physical copies already on the way, so I'm already correcting it before those have even got here. There we go. Guys, what have you got that you want to plug? Let me know.
Yeah, a couple things. Well, Sunday I did a 7-hour live stream where we broke down Wicked, the movie, for like 4 hours. We talked about our favorite musicals, and we watched Shrek the musical in its entirety. So big musical-centered episode last week, which was really fun. Wednesday, tomorrow, in honor of Thanksgiving, I've got a full-length commentary watch-along, we watch video for The Stuff, the movie about the dessert that eats you.
Yeah.
So we watched that in its entirety. Expect that tomorrow. And then later today, in less than an hour, in like 40 minutes, I'm going to be on Leon's channel, Bolt the Word, Words of Paradise, whatever his name is. We're going to be talking about, I'm going to be on the Tinfoil Hater Show, and we're going to talk about QAnon. So it's going to be fun. I'm actually surprised that nobody had called that conspiracy theory yet. So I jumped on it. So we're going to be talking about the boomer psyop, QAnon at great lengths in less than an hour. So check that out.
I saw the documentary about that. You know, that those strange characters all living in Thailand. There's the guy who's in the wheelchair. The sort of.
I wouldn't trust any documentary about Q. Honestly,
you know the one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Everybody
They try to paint us all as quacks, you know. But you know, where we go one, we go all. You know, it's you know, future proves past type thing. You know. Just kidding.
Well, I'm curious to see this. Oh, I've just had a email from Amazon. My physical copies of my book are going to arrive on Thursday. Fantastic.
Whoa!
Yeah. So excellent. Okay. So very good. Northern. What you got coming up?
Yes.
When are you doing Miami Vice?
Saturday, 9:00.
Now I might be able to pop on that because my movie quiz
please,
is
man,
Saturday,
please.
by
Any,
9 o'clock.
Enzo,
Yeah, by 9 o'clock.
come on if you want as well. I mean, love to have a big panel for this one if I can.
Well, Sandra Santiago said she was going to come on for an interview, and every time I've written to her since to try and lock it down, she's just not responding to me. It's so, you know, maybe she listened to one of my streams with you lot and that put her off, which is entirely possible. But I'm still
Hollywood actors, they're a different breed, unfortunately, because she's a very lovely woman, and it would have been great to have her on your show. It would. I'm
still hopeful of getting her on, and we'll see. But yeah, I mean, a really talented actress, so I would absolutely love to get her on the channel. Fingers crossed.
It's on my channel right now. I've let me try see if I can pop it on into the comment section. Let's have a look. Let's get YouTube up.
Yeah, please do. I had a friend request from somebody today, incidentally, and there was no message, you know, no introduction of any kind. And I had 3 friend requests today. 2 of them were from crypto people. Have you guys been getting those? Hey, I've
been getting like, do you want hot dates? Blah blah blah, all that shit. I'm like,
well, unfortunately, I haven't been offered any hot dates, but I have been offered lots of crypto.
I don't get any crypto bros. It's all e-thoughts. It's all.
Yeah, no, I can tell it sounds like an AI. It's like, yes, I used to live in Amsterdam, but now I've moved to such and such. Why are you telling me this?
Dude, yeah, I get random messages from randos. It's just delete. You know, I don't even like respond. I'm just like block, delete, go away.
But I got another one from this lady, and I looked her up, and I could see she's in the film industry. So I said, okay, but I might have met her at the rave. Did speak to a lot of people because I'm always chatting to people. So I said, hey, did we meet at the rave on Saturday? No, she replies. Okay. So, and I was like, okay, question mark. And she writes back, okay, question mark. And I said, well, you sent me a friend request. So, you know, who are you? Oh, I didn't realize I had to explain who I was in order to send you a friend request. Yes, you do. And then so it went into this massive debate about, you know, friend request ethics and how it's a bit like picking up someone's phone and scrolling through all their contacts and pictures and then walking off without saying anything. If you don't at least introduce yourself and say who you are, I mean, you're still, oh, well, I'm just networking because Facebook suggested you. Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind that. But if you go to a networking event, part of the networking event is that you speak to the person you're trying to network. That's why it's called a networking event. Facebook networking shouldn't be any different. You know, I'm not going to add you just because you send me a friend request and we've got 60 friends in common. So what? So I had to explain this, and I just was kind of dismayed that I even really needed to point out that this was common courtesy, you know. So, and then she said to me, it must be a cultural thing. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to go down that road, but whatever.
All right. Well, I got to go, guys. I got less than 40 minutes to get ready for the show. I got a shit shower and get some food. So I'll see you all later. Thanks for hanging. Bye.
All right.
Take care, man. Take care.
We're going. Thanks, chat. All right. Cheers, everybody. Thanks to my panel. And thanks for all the comments in the chat. Really do appreciate you guys. Join us next week when we'll be covering more stuff. I forgot to get into the tsunami documentary on Disney. I recommend it. It's 4 parts. It's really hard hitting. It's very good. I will talk about it next week.